Good morning, afternoon, or evening, boys and girls. This is Miss Catherine from the Frederickson Library, the Children's Department, for another round of Craft Grab and Go. Can you believe, boys and girls, it's already February? It's hard to believe, but I like the snow. I do like winter, but I also like spring. So anyway, here we are. And I just want to go over a couple of things. Many of you may already know some of this, just for the new people that are joining. So Craft Grab and Go bags are something we do at the Frederickson Library. And I videotape a little session doing a craft. And then that's uploaded to Frederickson YouTube channel, and it's on the Frederickson website. If you click on At Home Fun under Children's, you can watch the video and follow along and make your craft. And each bag has all the materials for the craft. So you don't need to, run out and get all the materials. There are also recommended books for whatever topic we're studying and just some cute pictures. So today we're going to be doing a groundhog craft. Now, Groundhog Day has already passed, but we're still going to do groundhog. It was just on February 2nd, so it's not too long ago. And so we'll be doing some fun things around groundhog. But anyways, for Craft Grab and Go bags, there's no registration that's necessary. A lot of our programs you need to register and sign up online, but this one you don't. Now I make a certain number of craft bags, and once they're gone, they're gone. I don't make any more. So I advise you to please get your craft bag early rather than later. We'll have them available on Saturday, the 6th of February, and then the videotape will be posted on that Sunday, I believe. You can always check the website. And then the next one that we'll be doing will be on winter animals, a polar bear and perhaps a fox, but for sure a polar bear. We'll be doing a fun craft that's very easy for that, for kids to do. The other thing that is nice about the videotaping is you can watch it anytime and you can do it anytime. So you can do it when you're at your cousin's house, you can do it after school, you can do it on a rainy day or snowy day, you can do it in the morning or the evening, whatever. So please join me, and I hope to instruct you on a really fun groundhog craft. I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we get started. So what I'm going to do today's session, I'm going to share with you some Groundhog Facts, and then I always like to do a joke or two, and then the craft, and finish up with a joke or a poem or both, and that's kind of it. So let's get started. How many of you have ever seen a groundhog? Perhaps you've seen one in your backyard, perhaps you've seen one at a park, or maybe at a zoo. They're really cute animals, but they can be very destructive, but they're adorable. So we're going to look at the adorable side of groundhogs today. But I want to tell you some interesting facts about groundhog, and maybe you can tell your adult some interesting facts about groundhogs if you have studied them or learned about them, because some of you may know a lot about groundhogs. So groundhogs have couple of different names. One is groundhog, one is woodchuck, and one is whistle pig, and another one is a land beaver. Did you know that all those animals are part of the squirrel family? So now I know some of you have seen squirrels in your backyard or maybe at the park, but they all belong, these names all belong, and animals all belong to the squirrel family. So the name whistle pig, it comes from a really high-pitched scream that the groundhog gives off to warn others of danger. And you know what? I recommend that you listen to it on YouTube. It's like a high whistle, like sharp little whistle. It's kind of cute, but I wouldn't want to have to hear it all day. That would probably drive me nuts. So a groundhog hibernates. Now, some of you may be familiar with bears, and you know that bears in the winter hibernate, or they sleep most of the winter and then they wake up in the spring. A groundhog hibernates or sleeps from approximately late October to mid-March. So it's a long, long time. And he sleeps underground. So he doesn't sleep above the ground. He goes underneath. Now, a groundhog lives in a burrow that's about 5 feet underground. That's as tall as some of you are. It's a long way down into the ground because he's not a very big little animal. He's not a very big animal. And groundhogs build tunnels underneath there. So do you know that a groundhog could have 50 or more tunnels, a family of groundhogs? So they're all kinds of, just like maybe you've gone through a tunnel with your parents or your cousins or an adult in a car. A groundhog, of course, does not have a car, but he runs along all these tunnels and he has little places that he does things in the tunnel. So groundhogs are amazing at digging. Now, a groundhog is a great digger, and a groundhog can move over 700 pounds of dirt when digging just one burrow or den. That's a lot of dirt. Imagine a huge pile of dirt, and bigger than you can even imagine, and that's 700 pounds probably. That would be kind of fun to see him dig, but I don't know that I'd want to watch it for a long time. So anyways, do you know a groundhog is also a great climber and a great swimmer? So if he ever has to make a quick getaway and he's near water, he can just swim. A groundhog can grow up to 2 feet long. Now that's like 2 rulers long. So he's not a big animal, but he can be big. So 2 feet long is like this. So anyways, a groundhog, one of the things you'll notice about a picture if you Google it to look it up, a groundhog has very big teeth in the front of his mouth. He has 2 big teeth that sort of sit like this, right in the front of his mouth, and they're sharp, they're flat bottom. And they're called, they're like incisors, like our incisors, and sharp pointed teeth at the bottom that stick up. And those are called, they're like our canines. So he uses those sharp and big teeth to bite things and to chew things. And of course, he uses his sharp claws to dig. And he has real thick fur that keeps him warm, just like a bear. So those are some interesting facts about groundhogs. So maybe you know some more, but you can also research it and find out even more about groundhogs. And we have lots of books on groundhogs at the library. And I listed some on your materials sheet. So now, Groundhog Day is kind of famous here in Pennsylvania. It started in Pennsylvania, but it's celebrated all across the United States. And it's a kind of special day. Now, there's a lot of tradition and different things that go on that day. And so you can, believe what you want to believe, but it's really, a lot of it is just tradition. So Groundhog Day is February 2nd. So it just passed not too long ago. So what is Groundhog Day? So Groundhog Day, according to tradition, is when a groundhog wakes up from his hibernation. So remember, he's down in his little burrow or den or tunnel. And actually, Groundhog Day, he's supposed to wake up on February 2nd. He comes out of his little burrow, he pops his head up, and if he sees his shadow, it means he will go back into his burrow and winter will last 6 more weeks. So it's kind of a way of predicting the weather. Like we have weathermen that predict the weather, but Groundhog Day is just a cute way to see, are we going to have more winter or are we going to have some spring? Now, also according to this tradition, if the groundhog comes out of his burrow on February 2nd and he does not see his shadow, then it means that we're going to get an early spring, which some of you may like, have the warmer weather come sooner than later, and some of you may like the winter and want it to stay. So, you can be rooting for one or either side. Now, Groundhog Day, like I said, is celebrated all across the United States in different towns and cities. But the largest Groundhog Day celebration is held in Patuxent, Pennsylvania. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But that's in our own state, Pennsylvania. So there is a famous groundhog who predicts this weather. And he's called Patuxent Phil. And so this tradition was started over 200 years ago. So it's been going on a long time. And often the groundhog wears a big black top hat. So it's just, again, tradition. Now, for some of the adults, if you're watching this, you may remember that Bill Murray starred in a movie called Groundhog Day. And do you remember the name of the groundhog in that movie? Well, the groundhog's name was Scooter. And what happens is the TV weatherman, he lives one day over and over again as he reports about the Groundhog Day occurring in Pennsylvania. So it's just kind of a cute tradition. And hold on, this is my dog. I'm just going to close the door here. You may have seen him in the last video. I hope to show him off maybe at the end and you can see him. He's my buddy. He goes everywhere with me. So that's a little bit about Groundhog Day in Pennsylvania. So I totally forgot to start with a joke. So if you know Miss Kay, she always likes to start with a couple of jokes. Now, I looked up groundhog jokes and there are not many. There are not many good ones, let's say. So I just have 2 groundhog jokes. I'll do one in the beginning and one in the end. So why should you never share a bed with a groundhog? Because they always hog the covers. Okay? And like I said, I'll save the second one for the end. Now, have you ever heard of a tongue twister? So a tongue twister is something you say. It's like a couple of sentences that you say really, really fast. You start off maybe slow and you say it faster and faster and see if you don't mess up. The goal is not to mess up the words and say them in a different way or in a different order or whatever. So I have a woodchuck. Now remember, a groundhog is also called a woodchuck. Tongue twister. So I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it pretty slow, and then you can practice it. You can go back and listen to the video or ask your adult, and they may know this tongue twister and see how fast they can say it. So it goes like this. And when it says a woodchuck chuck, that means to toss the wood. He bites into it and tosses it. So how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would as much as he could and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood. That's a lot of woods and chucking, right? So, anyways, just thought you might enjoy that. Well, finally, let's get to the craft and begin. So, I want to show you what's in your bag. So, and then we're going to start. So you have 2 pieces of paper like this with circles on them. You have 2 half circles, brown and green. You have some groundhogs, two little cute groundhogs, and a groundhog shadow, if you can see that. You have some cotton balls. You have a little sun. Can you see a sun? And you have some little dots. We're going to make flowers out of these. And I believe that's it. I've included in my little packet that I'm making at home, I've included a big round circle, the same size as your green and blue circle. I just cut it out of a file folder. It gives the base of your little diagram stability. And let me show you what we're going to make. I forgot to show you. So let me move this aside. This is what we're making. So this is my little groundhog. And this means that spring is coming early. You can see the flowers on the ground. And then, and I'll explain this a little. And this is my other groundhog. And on this side, he sees no shadow. He doesn't see a shadow. But on this side, he sees his shadow. And so that means more winter. So we're going to make this, and it kind of sits up. You can have it sit up on your table. It kind of wants to flop down, but there you go. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to cut out these circles real quick, all right? And you're going to do the same at home. So try to cut on the line because the circles will match up. And if you need an adult, if you're watching this with an adult, maybe they could help you, or a sibling, an older sibling. So we're gonna have 2 circles. One blue circle, and there you go, and 1 gray circle. So you'll definitely need scissors for this. I didn't include scissors in the bag, but I'm sure you probably have scissors in your house. If not, you can ask a friend or a neighbor. Okay, there we go. I've got my 2 circles. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold them in half. So I'm going to fold the gray one in half, and I'm going to crease it nice and good. So it's like that. It's kind of like a taco. And then I'm going to fold the blue one in half. It's not as thick as the gray one, and I'm going to fold that in half. So I have a blue and a gray taco. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be gluing these together. Okay? See? I'm going to have the bottom. They're going to be different on the bottom, but glued up the top. So I want to get my glue. Here we go. And I put, a fair amount of glue on. You don't want too much. And then you're going to just put them together. All right? If they don't match up perfectly, that's okay, because you can cut it. So what I do is I do like this, and then I sort of flatten them out and press down. So it gets nice and glued on. Okay, do you see that? One side is blue, one side is gray. All right. Now I'm going to put it up so one side is blue and one side is gray like this. Now I'm going to take my green, and I'm going to put it, I'm going to glue it down. All right? I'm going to glue it down. So here we go. And I'm going to glue it on the gray side. I have to think about this because it makes a difference with the story that the groundhog's going to tell. Okay, whoops. Okay, so I glue my green one down on the gray side. So I put it right here, and again, it should match up pretty well. Okay, so now I have the gray and the green on one side. Okay, press down. I'm going to do the same thing with the brown. So here we go. I'm going to put the glue on. All right. And I'm going to put that on the blue side. And just put it right underneath that crease. All right. Press down. And so now you should have a flat bottom. All right. Now at this point, if you want to use something to sort of stabilize it a little bit more, you can glue this on the bottom. So I'm going to do that real quickly. Again, you don't have a manila file folder circle, but you can use cardstock. You can use any thick paper or cardboard if you want to do that. Again, it is not necessary. So I'm going to glue that down, and I'm going to make sure, yes, the brown and the green are on the bottom. I'm going to glue it to the bottom. Okay. Here you go. You see? Just glue it. And I'm going to press down. All right. So now I have a little bit thicker base. Like I said, you don't need it. And you can also, in between both of these, if you want to cut a half circle, I didn't do that to this one, but you can put a manila file folder portion in there as well to kind of give it some steadiness. All right, now I have to look at my little diagram to know what I'm doing, because it takes a little bit of thought here. All right, so first of all, we're going to do our springtime one. And remember, if the groundhog does not see his shadow, that means he does not see his shadow when he comes out on February 2nd. That means that springtime is coming soon, or coming early that year. So I'm going to add my little springtime flowers. So here are my little flowers, and I just put dots all around. You can put them anywhere on here. I just kind of put them on lots of different places, kind of spread them out, and I'll show you after I get it on. Okay, here are my flowers, and now I'm just going to take a magic marker or a crayon. You can even use colored pencils or even just a pencil. And I'm going to just draw little flowers around, just like I did with this one. Now, I use different color magic markers. I don't have them out right now, so I'm just going to use black. These just represent the flowers of spring. And you can draw them big. You can draw them with big petals or small petals, any way you like. Just use your imagination. Okay, here are my flowers. Okay, now I'm going to add my groundhog. So I grab one of my little groundhogs, woodchucks or whistle pigs, and I put him right here in the middle. So I'm going to glue him on. Again, don't add too much glue. Put him right in the middle. Kind of see where the middle is. Okay, press him down so it glues on real nicely. You can always come back and add more glue. So there's my groundhog in the middle of the page. Now, I'm going to add some clouds because it's cloudy outside. Remember, this is in February. And even though we don't see flowers blooming in February, it means that spring is coming soon. So flowers will be blooming soon. All right. Now, if you have a little extra at the top, do you see that? I'm going to cut that off a little bit. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to take my cotton ball, and I have one cotton ball, and I'm going to cut it in half. And you might have to have an adult help you. And then you sort of have a flat bottom. That's the part I'm going to glue on. And I'm going to glue it kind of right over his head. Do you see that? Right over his head. So the clouds are nice and puffy right overhead. So it's a cloudy day. I put some glue down here. I just put it right on here. Sometimes it helps if you roll them out a little bit, but just, it's okay. However you want to do it, because clouds don't look exactly perfectly round, right? When we look up at the sky. Okay, so now I've got my little cloud cover over the groundhog, and I can add some more clouds. So I can take my other cotton ball, and I can take him in half, cut him in half, and then maybe cut that half in half and make two smaller clouds. Again, I'm going to just kind of roll these up a little bit. And I'm going to put glue on the side here. So there are lots of clouds. It's a cloudy day. And when I look outside now, it's a little cloudy. It wasn't so cloudy earlier today, but now it's cloudy. So I have my cloudy day. My little groundhog Do you think he's going to see his shadow? I don't think so because of all those clouds. We need sun to see our shadow. Okay, now I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to put my little groundhog again, my second groundhog, and I'm going to glue him down. Right in the middle of the page, right in the middle of the side. Okay, now I have a lot going on the other side, so I just sort of press in the air. Put him there. Okay, see, I got him. All right, now he is, because the sun is shining, he actually can see his shadow. So I'm going to put a sun in the sky, and that's going to be the little yellow dot. And I'm going to put it just not quite overhead. I'm going to put it off to the side just a little bit, like that. And I'm going to draw the little rays on the sun. So again, you can do that with a magic marker, with, crayon, whatever you want. There's my little sun. All right, he is such a happy little groundhog. Now he is going to see his shadow, all right, because the sun is shining. It's not a cloudy day. So I'm going to put his shadow, and I'm going to tilt it just a little bit. So it's not going to go straight out. I'm going to tilt it. So I put glue on the back of my groundhog shadow. And I face him with his face pointing in my direction. With his head, let's say, pointing in my direction. Or towards your own head. See, like this. All right? And now, okay, so when the groundhog sees his shadow, that means 6 more weeks of winter. So when you think of the ground in winter, it's kind of brown, maybe muddy. Certainly it's not green and flowers are blooming. So we're going to put a little snow on the ground. So now I take my cotton ball and I just sort of pull little whiffs off, little pieces, like this. Just little teeny fluffs, for lack of a better word. I don't know how else you'd call it. And you can do as many of these as you want. Do you see I added them here? I just added little fluffy pieces. That's the snow. So I'm going to do maybe like, how many did I do on my other one? I did maybe 10. So I'm going to do like 10. Sometimes it's a little hard to pick, and they want to stick to your fingers for sure. Whoops. Okay. I mean, you can also take more cotton balls and cover the entire piece. So it'd be a super snowy day, just like we have out today. Snow is all over the ground. But I think rather than try to put the glue on the cotton ball, which I had tried first, I'm just going to put a couple of glue dots around. I'm just putting them on here, okay? Just where I want the snow to be. Speaking of snow, boys and girls, did you like this snow? I sure loved it coming down. It's so pretty. And our neighbors built a really cute snowman. The little boy did. So it's adorable. I hope you have a chance to build a snowman too. If not this snow, then maybe another snow. Okay, now I have my little glue dots down. All I'm going to do is put my little snow on the ground. Do you see? I'm just kind of spreading it around. Okay. All kinds of little snow. And we talked about different kinds of snow to make a snowman. You need the kind of good snow. And we got super fluffy snow this last snow. So it was great for making snowmen. It wasn't real icy. It was perfect. So I bet if you drive around, you can see some snowmen. Okay. have lots of snow. There's a bunch of snow on the ground. Okay, and now I'm just going to label it so I can remember it, but also it's just nice for someone who wants to see it so they can read it. So I probably should have done this first because now it's a little hard to write. But so remember that when you're watching this video, if you're watching it all the way through. So I'm going to write what each side means. So I'm going to start with this side and I'm going to say groundhog, and you can have an adult help you with this. Groundhog sees his shadow. And that, then I'm going to put equals over here. Equals 6 more weeks of winter. It's a lot. That's a month and a half. So that's a lot more winter. All right, so there we go. Now we have it written. You can see it maybe a little backwards in the computer. All right, now we're going to take it, turn it over, and we're going to say, Groundhog does not see his shadow. And what does that mean, boys and girls? Do you remember? Does not see his shadow. And that equals springtime is coming early. Okay, then I have that. So now I have my little Groundhog Craft, and I think it came out really, really cute. And you can just shore up the edges here a little bit. You can cut them if, like your manila file folder or whatever paper your cardboard is kind of showing through, you can just cut it a little bit so it doesn't, you don't see it. Again, you do not have to do that, just as a way of making it look a little bit nicer. So that's it. I think this came out really cute, and I think groundhogs are really cute. So hopefully you'll see a real groundhog one of these days, but not being destructive in anyone's yard. So the last few things I want to do are I want to do my second joke. So how does a groundhog greet his parents? With hogs and kisses instead of hugs. I think that one's cute. And I hope you greet your parents or your adults, the ones you love, with hugs and kisses, because you know everyone can use a hug. It just cheers a person up. Whether they're happy or sad, it just makes them glad. So the last thing I want to do is I have a little poem that I wrote about groundhogs and what will the weather be, since they are supposedly being able to predict the weather. Now, you know what I meant to do? I meant to go and see what the groundhog predicted for this year. I think he predicted more winter, but I'm not sure. So maybe you can Google that and find out. So anyways, I just don't know right now, but that's a cool thing to figure out. All right. So here's the poem. What will the weather be? Little groundhog, what shall it be? More of winter or spring shall we see? If you see your shadow, then winter time lasts some more. Go back to your burrow, my little groundhog, to sleep and snore. But if, little groundhog, it should be that you do not see your shadow as you peek out from the tree, then springtime is coming soon and is almost just right here. It brings us blooming buds and melts the snow so it disappears. So pop up, little groundhog, to run and tumble and play, to frolic in the springtime, day by day. I hope you enjoyed that poem, and that should be on the back of your materials sheet. And I hope you enjoyed the tongue twister, and I hope you enjoyed the craft. So join me again. The next Craft Grab and Go will be on Saturday, February 20, will be the pickup time, and then the video will be posted that Sunday, as far as I know. Things may change a little bit, but that's close. Thank you, boys and girls, for joining me. I look forward to another Craft Grab and Go, and have a wonderful beginning to February, and enjoy the snow. We may be getting more of it. Goodbye.